I'm very aware that I'm making a lot of podcast episodes. I'm very aware, but I have thoughts, I have inspiration, and I want to talk about these things. So, welcome to the Real Me Podcast, a podcast where I talk about my life and the things that come up in my life with my thoughts, my feelings, my experiences, and the insights that I gain from all those things. Today's topic will be a term I've thrown around in videos and everything like that I want to formally discuss here, and that is intellectual attraction. And before I even get into what I really want to talk about, I want to define intellectual attraction. And I'm not going to use Google. Maybe I will. I don't know. I'll just say Google. AI. Sorry. But it says intellectual attraction is a non-physical, cerebral and platonic draw to a person's mind, ideas, intelligence, and ways of thinking. It involves being stimulated by someone's wit, knowledge, and curiosity, often leading to a desire for deep conversation rather than romantic or sexual engagement. Now, I thought that it meant attracted to subjects, but actually, I was wrong, and I was right. And Google AI, thank you AI, you confirmed, like, there's actually some good things about AI, as I talked about the negatives on the last podcast, but this really confirmed it. So I am intellectually attracted to Josh Groban. I'm intellectually attracted to writing. I'm intellectually attracted to certain types of people my age, even myself. I feel intellectually attracted to myself when I listen to myself. Like, this is what it is. It's an attraction, not in a sexual way, where you're sexually attracted to the person, like through the body kind of thing. But it is rather through the mind, the way of speaking, the tone of voice, the precision of language, the accent, the person's ideas of things, the way they speak very, very well and fluently about things. Like, it goes beyond the sexual aspects of it. Like, it's not a sexual thing, it's an intellectual thing. So I thought I might just define that for you, and hopefully this podcast will not be as long as the others. I kind of don't think that it will, but we will see. Here is an example of an intellectual attraction. It may be a physical intellectual attraction. Like, I want to make it even more complicated. Like, I didn't clarify in the post. It might be a physical intellectual attraction that is not sexual. Like, I define intellectual attraction as attraction to others that is not sexual. Like, you're intellectually attracted to something if you don't feel it. I'm going to get really, really inappropriate here, so don't mind me. When I feel sexually attracted, there is some movement in the private parts of my body. And I have felt it before when I felt the attraction, and I do feel that feeling. And one time it was very, very changing, and I have felt that. And you know who I felt it towards? I'm going to be vulnerable here, so get ready. This is going to be a vulnerable podcast episode. But this is the whole point of it, is for me to be real and authentic. So I was sexually attracted to specifically males, teenage, young adults, preferably those, most likely wearing certain clothes rather than other clothes, although I consider a tuxedo and a suit and everything to be very, very attractive, obviously. The other clothes item that I consider to be really sexually attractive was, they were wearing a shirt, they were wearing shorts, like athletic shorts, and sneakers. Like, people, I was so drawn to it on the sexual level. There was something about it. combined with the person's looks, and you can throw into that the person's voice. And it is, you know what I just realized that I'm talking about intellectual attraction? I have Venus in Gemini, and I have the moon in Libra. How perfect could this be? Those are the two relationship planets. The moon is how you want to feel in relationships, how you need to feel nurtured emotionally. And my moon is in Libra, which is an air sign, which is all about attraction. It is all about harmony, peace, relationships, beauty, all those things. Like, it's a very relationship-oriented sign in an intellectual way. And it really values the other person. It's like it's really open-minded toward the other person. And my Venus in Gemini is so curious and so spontaneous and so open to ideas and prefers to connect with someone in a very spontaneous, flighty, intellectual kind of way, like through the person's voice. Like, I find that on the sexual level attractive and the intellectual level. So you throw in the clothes that they're wearing, maybe that's not the biggest thing, the person's looks, the person's voice, and together you have a sexual attraction that I consider what that is. With that, it really, really depends upon the person's looks. Because if somebody I perceive as not handsome wearing those same clothes, I'm not attracted to them on the sexual level. So it really, really depends. But this podcast is not about that. This podcast is about the mind-mental attraction, and I want to give you some examples, and I want to really, really talk in depth about this, of some recent examples that I've found. Some things that I find intellectually attractive are really, really well written out writing that is written out really, really well, with a lot of thought into it, really, really well done by famous authors or whatever. I'm also very, very attracted to music by Josh Groban, for example. His voice is really, really intellectually attractive to me. There's just something about it that I'm drawn to. That is very, I'm just drawn to voices like that, and it's almost like I can't take seriously what they're actually saying, and what they're actually singing. I'm just so drawn into their voice that I'm just so caught into that what are they saying? What is the content of what they're producing? That goes kind of out the window a little bit as I get distracted with, the other. So those are a couple of things. But anyway, AI, I don't want to go into a whole discussion about that. I keep bringing it up. You're probably thinking, no, wait a second. I'm going to catch myself right there. I know what I'm doing, and I'm not going to give into it. Like, I am tuning to myself, to the audience. I am therefore getting myself sucked into what you think by saying that. So I caught myself right there, and I'm like, no. I'm going to live from a detached place, from my eagle's perch, from a place of sovereignty, from a place of autonomy, and I will not allow myself to censor myself and talk like I'm so sensitive to what you think and trying to clarify things and apologize for you. Like, no, 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 no. That is so not healthy. That is so not healthy. That gets you sucked in and consumed by the whole social media thing. I will not do that. It is healthier to be your authentic self on social media, believe it or not. It is healthier to be that way. When I was creating AI shorts, one of the shorts was a video short in that short app on my phone. I opened the app for the YouTube shorts, clicked on the AI feature, or clicked on the video feature. I was really, really into historical time periods because I was really, really into history, and I'll get into that a little bit more later. But I was putting in World War II, and I have a post about this. You can, read it. Maybe I'll put a link to the post so you can read my written interpretation of this. I just thought I'd really, really talk about this. It's very, very important to me, and go more in depth on this. I was putting into the thing World War II, into the, where you put the, where you want to find what you're looking for. Lo and behold, what came up? I have it. I have to pull it up so that I can really see it and talk about it as I go here. And you may very well hear it, which is part of the magic and attraction of it. Okay. So you're going to hear it. This is the short that came up. This is the video that came up. I put World War II in the things. I just want you to just hear the sounds, and then I will describe the things to you. If you can hear it, which I think that you can. Okay, it's very, very short. It is AI, and AI is, makes everything so real and whatever. I came across the short, and I looked at this man that was coming up, and he had in the short he has I'm going to refer to him as a human soul, like a living soul that has a spirit, that has a soul, all this kind of things, because I want to honor him in an Amenton kind of way. I want to, like, intellectual attraction is very Amenton-like in my definition of things. Where I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but the man was wearing a World War II outfit. You can hear the sounds of the guns in World War II. You could see it like it was the real thing, and he was carrying a gun. Just like you would shoot in World War II. But the thing that I was very, very attracted to, and I'm replaying this, and I'm probably get ahead of myself again here, is the face. I was very, very attracted to the face. It looked real. It looked so real to me. Like this is somebody in World War II with a story of trying to fight for his life or whatever. Like, this is a real person, and I want to talk about him as if he has feelings, like if he has a conscience, if he was real. That's part of the belovedness of this. That's part of what I did when I did my Amenton when I was little. The whole point was to honor guests and to talk about them as if they were real, and to have intellectually romantic feelings toward them and be very attracted to them, and to honor them in ways. So I'm going to carry on even though I don't do the Amenton anymore, I'm going to carry on the Amenton mindset when I do these videos, when I do these podcasts. So, it's going to get more complicated later on, just be prepared. But for right now, let's keep it simple. Okay, so, he was dressed in a proper outfit for World War II, and he looked so real. Like I will put the short link below in the description below so that you can see it. Like, he looks real. Like, AI makes things look very, very real. He looks so real in that outfit. And just the appearance of him, it looks like a three-dimensional real person in real life. Okay. Too good to be true with AI. As I was saying, let's talk about my interest in history now. So, I became interested in history when I was in the hospital. I was watching a lot of cooking shows, getting bored with that, so I watched a history documentary. I became very, very interested in history and time periods. Became very interested with World War II back in January. I was putting in to schedule videos for my other channels, as well as this one. I guess have to come out. I put in time periods based off of history to create history. Okay. Okay. Now, something happened when that video popped up and I witnessed it. I would, if you could already tell by the hints that I was giving you, I was attracted to this person intellectually. Like, I was attracted to their looks. I was, attracted. And it wasn't a sexual kind of attraction. Not really. Didn't feel it in my body. It was intellectual. I haven't felt sexual feelings for a long time, so. Here's the reason why I think that I was so attracted to this person. I was attracted to this person because they looked like a human being. They looked like a real person, and yet it was AI. Like, it looked... Sorry, he looked... I'm going to name him John. I'm going to give him a name. There's going to be more of that later in this podcast, more names. So please don't judge me on the names that I give the later characters, please, if you would please. Not judge me in the comments for that. Anyway, there I go again, becoming very, very sensitive to what you're saying. Not healthy. I just caught myself again. But that's okay. So, as I was saying, his name is John. I'm going to call him John. John, I didn't list this in the post. John looked so human. Like, I want to refer to him as a real person, okay? So, he looked so human. He looked really, really human. And there's something very just attractive about a basic human being, male, young to middle-aged male, right now in my life. There's something so attractive about the appearance of that, and potentially the voice of that. And you can use the word people. He was a representation of people, just in general, not like a specific person that's different from the other, but just representing humanity, representing humans in general is what I mean here. Okay. So John made the setting look alive. Just really brought the thing to life. Like it was just like I was seeing World War II for what it was, as it was, the sounds, the appearance, the people and how they dress, like, and it was like a moving portrait. Like a moving portrait of World War II, but in video form. Moving portraits, oh my gosh, how beloved they are. Like in Harry Potter and in Night at the Museum Smithsonian, like all the characters in Night at the Museum Smithsonian were so attractive. Even the bad guy, moving portraits. I cannot tell you how beloved moving portraits are and how attractive they are. So it was kind of like that. Now this could also represent modern males, current males that you see walking around the streets. Just, there's something to be said about modern people dressed in outfits that were in history. You take modern people, like, actors, and put them in historical outfits for movies or plays or something like that. That is also very attractive to me. For the most part, these people are American. Maybe British, but I'm definitely thinking American. I'm definitely thinking more on the American side. Anything other would be less so in my mind. So American ones are the most attractive to me. There is something about a certain setting and a real person. The difference between just those, those statues, those little, mini people, that you get, like in the Indian in the cupboard when there was the miniature people and then they turn into real people, like they were real. Not the figurines, but, the real people. Like real, alive, in the flesh individuals. So this is part of how I fell in love with AI. You're probably thinking, why would you fall in love with AI if you made a whole podcast talking about the negatives of it? Well, I'm so against it. I'm so against it, but I can't help it. I fell in love with it because it was just it's amazing what it can do. I have to acknowledge that. It's amazing. It makes things so real. It's like it just paints it so three-dimensionally real. There's no errors, there's no, blurriness, there's no robotic falters in the technology. Like, I've fallen in love with how skilled it is and how real it makes things look. And this is an example of how I fell in love with AI, quote unquote. Okay, so why am I attracted to the computer is a good question I would pose. Why am I attracted to something so human but not at all? And I want to make a note about AI real quick. We as humans know ourselves. Like, we all the things that are made of us, our history, our books, our songs, like all that is intellectually attractive. Um, so, okay. So all the art, the history, the functional subject matters are instinctively weaved into this AI technology. I talk about being slob. I think I don't need to repeat what I just said in that other video. Now what I wish was that the video was longer. It was 15 seconds long, If it was longer, I would get to know the person. Maybe the person would talk. Maybe the person would move about. Like, I would get to see World War II in action more than just 15 seconds. But for that little 15 seconds, like, it's enough. I got the message, I got the feeling, but I wish it was more. Like, sometimes there's something so beloved about something that lasts so short and it just fades away. Sometimes there's a quote from Beauty and the Beast. Sometimes the ones that are most hard to catch, that are the most precious prey. Something like that. Something about rejection, or we're not just that, but in relationships, but in romantic attractions. But and things that don't last a while, where you really savor and make the most of it, and then it goes away. So I wish I got to know the person more. Like, I guess wish I got to see the person, hear the person, do all those things. Now there was a part of me that was really curious to talk to the person. Like, I wanted to talk to this person. I wanted to get to know this person when I saw him in this video. I wanted to get to know him, get to understand him, like sit down and have a conversation with him like he was real. Sit down with John and have a conversation with him. And I wanted to get to understand how he experiences his life. Like, what are the experiences in his life, and how does he experience them? I wish I got to hear him talk. Beloved and charming. And I kind of already clarified, but I do have written out here the invention. If I didn't fully explain that before, it was a concept that I kind of started with when I was 5, 6, 7. It started from my dad filming videos of me um, um, pretending to teach. I was very, very into being a teacher. Like, I was very bossy, and I used the word okay a lot. Like I noticed how much I needed validation from him constantly. Like, every sentence I went up to the camera and went, okay, and then Dad had to say, okay, it back to me. Like, it was kind of annoying to watch myself always asking for that validation. But he was filming, and it started with me pretending to say, we have a plan to go to the park and eat, this kind of food, and this class needs to go on this field trip, or there's there's an art project that you need to do, or a place that you need to go to create art, like these school type activities. And then it evolved to me doing on my own, creating all these characters and da 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 da. But basically, pretended to invite guests, real guests that I was attracted to from movies, TV shows, and the like. As I've stated before, I honored them. I wanted to honor them. And I exaggerated things, like exaggerated how beloved that they are. Okay. So the whole point of the Invention is to live a life in which you think that they are real. You're living like they are real. And they themselves are not real when it's not real in the end. And the thing about an Invention, you could start at age 9 or 10 if you wanted to. And the people involved at the Invention would have to take you seriously and talk to you like an adult. They couldn't talk to you like a child. They couldn't say, oh, how cute you are. Oh, laugh at what you say. No. They're taken seriously. They're like the leader and authoritarian, authority of the Invention, and they're taken as serious adults. Like they're taken legitimately. Like they're taken significantly. So that is what it all comes down to. Okay, so now I want to get into another type of intellectual attraction, which I think is going to be the main focus of this podcast now. Let us talk about the internal voice that I get when I read and what it sounds like. I find this intellectually attractive, very much at times, and it is very inhuman but non-human. It's like all the males of the world, or all the young to middle-aged females of the world, all the young to middle-aged males of the world, all the young to middle-aged females of the world, combined into one voice that represented all of them, humanity, preferably American ones, like all the American young middle-aged males, all the American female young middle-aged males combined into one voice. Or two voices. I'm going to get into those, and believe it or not, I do have names for those. I'm going to get into that a little bit later, not to make it too confusing for you, but anyway. So the written word. I mean, I could read my own posts and find them intellectually attractive. Like, the written word is so attractive to me. It's not the look of it. It's partially that, I guess you could say. But it's the voice I tend to get when I hear that word. It's the voice that I tend to get when I hear that word going on inside me. Now I want you to write down in the comments. Tell me, what do you hear when you read? Like, what does your internal, like, have you ever stopped to think, well, this is deep psychological, maybe you don't want to think this metacognitively and deeply, but stop to think, what does your internal voice sound like, and do you like it? Like, are you friends with it? Do you enemize it in some way, or do you embrace it? Because I used to reject this voice because I just thought it was interfering with my life. It was annoying. It was very, very, just it took over my ability to think clearly sometimes. It was just, I wanted to read things neutrally, not have that voice going on, and have the stereotype of that particular type of person for what I was reading. But now I've learned to like it and embrace it. So, the written word is really, really intellectually attractive to me. Write down, what does your internal voice sound like when you read? I want to know. So I felt really, really uncomfortable with this voice because it wasn't my own voice. That's the reason why. I thought it was something outside of me, something external from me, yet it was inside of me all along throughout my whole school experience. by my conditioning of interest and exposure to certain people. Just you know, bits and pieces that kind of came together. But I felt really uncomfortable with it because this is like not my voice. It's not how I talk. So I'm just you're just anxious thinking about, like, does everybody else hear their own talking voice when they read? Because I don't. Write down if you hear your own talking voice when you read. I certainly do not hear that. I hear another voice entirely. I kind of wish I did in a way sometimes, but I have now learned to like this voice. And the voice was based on previous sexual attractions that I've had and other intellectual attractions. So I'm guessing that this voice, to be more specific, this male voice, because there's a male and then a female voice, it is a male voice, probably, like you're thinking somebody college age, in their 20s, in their 30s, probably in their 40s, who's a young man, American, that kind of thing. Like it was a sound of that kind of thing, representing humanity, representing history, and it made the words, especially you and people in writing, really, really attractive. I kind of feel embarrassed to go into this, to be honest, but this is a real and raw, authentic podcast, and I wrote this out, so I'm going to go into it. This is all based off of a book I read in 2018, Gregor the Overlander. And for some reason, the book stuck with me. I really, really liked it a lot. I almost loved it. And Gregor, the main character in the book is about Gregor. He's in the city. His baby sister, falls down to the underland, and then he has to go on all these quests and to do all these things throughout the whole book series. And the choral music I find very, very intellectually attractive. Like, choral music is very attractive sounding to me. Very. Gregor became a stereotype in my mind when I read that book. So did Jack in The Magic Treehouse, but it was more Gregor, because it was a book I spent time, reading as a young, teenager. So Gregor became very, very like a stereotype in my mind. And as I grew, Gregor grew. Like, the character grew, and there's something beloved about that. And too, now, somebody my age, somebody maybe slightly older than me, and it's in my head. Gregor is in my head, and that's what I call the male internal voice of what's going on. Comes up a lot when I'm reading things. Like, sometimes fiction books, like, the Clan of the Cave Bear I'm currently reading now, can come up during that, especially books written by male authors, or I can come up with websites or books, preferably, probably most likely informational ones based off of like AI information or history information, or like you're reading about World War II, or you're reading about psychology, you're reading about philosophy, very, very likely, that would come up. That male voice inside of me, the male part of my internal voice, would come up. And this voice is very masculine, like it's the divine masculine in my head, so to speak. Now, another character that really, really stuck with me, that was another female stereotype, is a character in the book called Luxa. I don't remember who she was or what she did, but I do remember her name. And there's a password idea that I came up with one time called Luxa 2018, because that's when I found out about it. That became the stereotype for choral music. That became the stereotype for young females. When reading them, I would imagine a mono female. Like, you have to understand, it's very one way. Stereotype of males combined into one, stereotype of females combined into one. So When I read things like I'm reading a book right now called, what's it called? I haven't read it in a while, but it's called Year of Wonders, and the main character is a female character and young to middle age, and that is also a Luxa stereotype. So Luxa became the female stereotype in my mind, and that's what I remember. So, she's the feminine voice in my head, largely when I'm reading female books written by female authors, probably written by a female. Like when I'm reading fiction books, especially, it shows up depending upon the characters and the writing style, whatever. Because the writing style really, really matters. Like, it really matters. You can notice it if it's not there, and if it's different. I think that it makes a really, really strong, huge difference in that. Largely, so it shows up when I now read spirituality, or when I read Colette Baron Reid's writing, or websites where they talk about spirituality and astrology. So that's where that voice shows up quite a bit. And I consider Luxa to be in the character. There's nothing indicated that she was spiritual in the book, but I considered her to have very spiritual qualities as a character, and in my mind, I do consider her very spiritual. And sometimes these two voices blend into just one voice when I read. Just one voice, and sometimes when I'm on YouTube and there's a button and it gives you instructions of how to click on it, like on Spotify, what do you want to listen to? I hear that male voice. On YouTube, deleting videos, I hear the male voice. Like, are you sure you want to do this? This is going to be taken down permanently, or the edits are going to be permanent. Like, when I see these messages pop up, male voice, Gregor stereotype, male, that kind of thing like that. And it's charming to say the least. And it's so versatile, it shows up in so many ways, in so many forms. Okay. So, so I used to anonymize these voices, not the Luxa voice, but the Gregor voice. I used to really anonymize that. But now I have accepted it as a part of myself. Now I have integrated it. Now I have come to terms with it, as this is how my reality is when I'm going to read. And you know what? I accept it. I can't change it. It is my internal voice. It is what it is. That's the way it is. The written word is intellectually attractive, as I stated before. And I've kind of, over the recent months and weeks, viewed these internal voices as friends. Like, I'm finding more and more, like, when I read, I'm like, I'm coming home. Well, not really that, but like when I read, these internal voices inside of me are friends to me. Well, like, there's something so familiar about them. Like, there's something so reliable. Like, you can count on them to always be there. And they're friends when I read. Like it's just so, I'm just so, like, I can focus on what I'm reading, but I am so attracted to this. So, do you anonymize the voice in your head when you read, or do you make friends with the voice in your head? What relationship do you have with your internal voice when you read? That's what I want to know. Okay. This intellectual attraction voice can also show up under the AI Ask feature under videos. That's where it can also show up when it's really, really well written. When I see my videos, and it just writes it out so well. Like, it writes it out so well. It's just, AI is spot on when it comes to its writing, and I find that so intellectually attractive. Like, a video could be so illegitimate, and the writing could be just so legitimate and clarify and make it sound so legitimate. Like, it is so intellectually attractive to me. AI is intellectually attractive when it comes to the written part of it. It's like an encyclopedia of knowledge. You ask any question, and it gives you the answer. AI writing is so very legitimate when it's written out. Like it's a computer robotic thing, yet it looks so humanly done. That's what AI is. It's a computer robotic thing, but it's like a human wrote it or a human filmed it. Or this was a human thing. Like it is a replacement of humans, and eventually there'll be like humans thinking with emotions, and then it'll be really, I mean, that'll be at a whole nother level. But we're definitely not there yet, and I hope that AI kind of goes down a little bit in some areas. Um, but the writing is so perfect. Like it's just like writing is not perfect. Human writing is not perfect. Like you could be writing, an essay, and you could be very, very good at writing, but it can't be perfect because there can always be room for improvement. And human writing is not perfect because it has a personality to it. It has a soul to it. It has a perspective to it. It has an experience to it that's different from the other. AI writing is the only exception to that. It is perfect because it's done by a computer. It's the only writing that's considered perfect. And I view the written word and this voice in my head as so alive, so alive. Just like, I see it in your comments that you write. For example, I made a whole podcast about that. I hear it in your comments, especially the well written out ones. It's like the same person but different. So keep sending me those comments that I can keep getting used to it more and indulging that voice. Like I want to see the comments come through so that I can get used to the comments and really indulge that internal voice and really get really, really comfortable with it. So keep sending me those opportunities in your own perspective writing. Okay. Okay. So as I say, we might as well make AI a friend. It will be here for a long time. Stop completely minimizing. Da, 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 da. Maybe make a friend to AI. Like maybe make AI a friend instead of minimizing it. Like find aspects of it that's a friend. Let's see if there's any. These voices are sacred. They're very, very human. They're very charming, attractive, and kind. Okay. Something so beloved about them. I think I'm getting close to being done here. The written word is so attractive because puts our words down in writing. That's what it does. I hear these voices and I think of humanity. Like I think of humanity very, very much. So when I think of these voices, they represent humanity to me in my mind, and they are a part of me. Like I'm actually honored that these voices are a part of me now, because I've kind of, I don't want to say fallen in love with it. Maybe I have fallen in love with it, but I've just learned to make friends with it and just accept it. We have to accept our internal voices because we can't help it. We can't read and force and change our internal voice. Like we're going to read, we're going to have whatever internal voice we have. Like make friends with your internal voices if you haven't yet. Okay. Da 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 da. They kind of carry me throughout my days. They kind of keep me going, especially as I'm reading. And I'm more inclined to read my book now because of I get to hear these voices and I get to get attracted to these voices when I'm reading. Okay. First I didn't like them because they were inside me. Okay. And, I think that that's it. I think that this is it for this podcast. It's a shorter one. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening to my take on intellectual traction. You can find this playlist in or this video in the Real Me podcast. Please tune in for more episodes. I will update whenever I feel like it. Also, Whenever you're watching this, please tune in for my weekly podcast for the Vastness of Google podcast. This week, the topics of discussion are going to be the lunar eclipse in Virgo happening on March 3rd, Jupiter in Libra in the natal birth chart, and the age of Aquarius in the precessional cycles in astrology. So those are the kind of the menu for videos this week for that podcast. And anyway, bye for now.